I now call to order this regular meeting of the Minnehaha County Planning Commission. And as a courtesy to everyone here tonight, please make sure that all your cell phones are turned off. Please also note that tonight's Planning Commission meeting will be rebroadcast via CityLink and posted on the www.minnehahacounty.org site for viewing by the general public. Any action taken on the rezoning application during the public hearing tonight is a recommendation that will be forwarded to the County Commission for another public hearing on Tuesday, November 27th at or after 9 a.m. Meetings of the County Commission are held in this same room, and the decision of the County Commission will be final. First on the agenda is, once again, the public input. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on any item that is not on the agenda? At this time, we will consider the minutes from the September 24th meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the minutes of the September 24th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I will now read item number 2, and if there is anyone that wishes to speak on this item, please raise your hand and we will move it to the regular agenda. Item number 2 is a rezoning. 18-08 to rezone from R1 Residential District to the C Commercial District. The property is described as lots 10 through 23, Block 5, Lyons Village Addition. This is located in the unincorporated area of Lyons. The petitioner is Dennis Haddle.
There is one.
Okay, we will move item number 2 to the regular agenda. Kevin?
Kevin Hookman, County Planning Department. As you just read, this is a rezoning item for, as described. If I can get my mouse to work. So the proposed rezoning, and the applicant is looking to rezone approximately 1.1 acres of a 2.73 acre parcel from R1 residential to C commercial as shown on the map. The red area on the map is the rezoning area, and the yellow area is the remaining area of the parcel. This stay is residential. The petitioner has submitted a short narrative to describe what he plans on doing with this section of the property. The plan is to include auto sales and service and warehousing and storage on the property. I will note that the petitioner and the Planning Commission should be aware that the conditional use permit will be required to use the property as requested even after this property is rezoned. Furthermore about the property is located on the north side of Lyons, which is a small unincorporated village in the rural area of the county. As noted earlier, the east side of the property is proposed for rezoning to commercial use. This is located adjacent to another property that is commercially zoned, which is this property with the old gymnasium. The proposed rezoning property contains the former school building for the Lyons School and asphalt parking and one supporting garage that's adjacent to the building. Right along the western part of the rezoning area, there is an area of trees that do provide some screening of the building and parking areas in its current condition. The proposed rezoning will note that the proposed rezoning is a result of active code enforcement, and I'll show you some pictures to show a little bit, explain more of that. The code enforcement is for a public nuisance on the property. The property is currently being used for storage of vehicles and equipment for future sales at another location. Again, if this property is to be maintained with storage, it'll have to be rezoned, and then a conditional use permit must still be approved. And that is the time at the conditional use permit hearing to attach any sort of conditions about the property, such as fencing, screening, maintenance of the asphalt, and others. The area is considered, or Lyons is considered a rural service area in the comprehensive plan. And the rezoning proposal generally meets the policies and objectives of the comprehensive plan, being part of the rural zoning area and adjacent to commercial zone property. So I'll just go through some of the pictures next here. This is looking to the east onto the property. The large grassy area that you see there is the area proposed to remain residentially zoned. The trees in the background, you'll see that screens the schoolhouse and the parking lot fairly well from this particular vantage point. This is looking south onto the property from the driveway. You'll see that there's already vehicles being stored on the property, and you can see the garage in the background and the schoolhouse in the back as well. Another view of the storage parking area. It is an asphalted parking lot that you'll see that there are some cracks with some grass and weeds growing out of the cracks. There's a little better picture of the storage garage that's existing on the property. Up the back, kind of towards the school. This is the school has been vandalized. Many of the windows have been broken out by rocks and presumably, but the brick itself looks like it's in pretty good shape. I thought I had some pictures of the other side of the building, but there is more grassy area to the south of the building, towards what's 2nd Street in Lyons. This is a picture of the road coming into the driveway. And one thing that I will note with this photo that was not listed in the staff report is that this particular driveway is only wide enough to contain one vehicle. So as of right now, this driveway is not adequate for any commercial use as it stands. The other 2nd Street on the south of the property has more space, more width to it, and is more readily used. And yeah, there's the 2nd Street road. The trees to the right are adjacent to the property. And this is the existing commercial that's to the east of the site, the old gymnasium. And then looking down southeast is the storage being used for fire trucks. I'll go back to the map quick. Staff does find this to be meet the policies and objectives of the comprehensive plan and recommends approval of rezoning number 1808 to rezone the subject property from R1 residential district to C commercial district. Is there any questions?
I got one for Kevin.
Yes.
Adam?
Say, Kevin, has anybody looked inside that school? I mean, what's the shape? If you was to use that school building, has it been looked at, or is it functional or to use, or what's the status of that?
I have not looked inside of it, but I guess from seeing the amount of broken windows, nothing could be warm in it, I should say. There wouldn't be any way to use it and have it a space that keeps warmth in it.
Any other questions for Kevin?
Not yet.
Is the petitioner here? Will you please come forward? State your name and address, please.
Brad Hatley, and I live here in Sioux Falls. You need my street address? Or
Yes, please.
1409 North Jessica.
Any questions for the petitioner?
If I may,
Yeah.
Madam Chair. So You've had some issues with code enforcement on getting the area cleaned up. It still looks a little bad.
Well, if you would have seen it when we got the property, it is a night and day difference. When we purchased the property, there was enough room for one car to pull in on the asphalt, and all of the windows were broken out. We replaced a lot of the windows. We've been having a constant problem with vandalism and theft. And so part of the reason for this rezoning is so I can spend more time there, and I can try to curb the vandalism and make the property a presentable place. You know, we put a window in, it gets broke out. You know, it is, we've had several things stolen. We've made countless reports of theft and vandalism. And so that's, you know, that's actually the main reason why I want to do something with this, because it's such a nice piece of property, and to just sit there idle is ridiculous. You know, I would really like to use this property and make something of it. My ultimate goal is to actually build out there, live there, work there, have everything in one spot. Yeah, but up until this point, it just hasn't been feasible, because the last thing I want to do is build something there and then have somebody break in when I'm sleeping, you know. But I feel if I'm there more, that I can maintain the property better.
Any other questions?
Do you have any plan to have homes built on the residential part of these properties?
Aside from in the future, if I decide to build there for myself, no.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Mike?
not to sound like a broken record here, but maybe just to help clarify my mind or reinstate something in my mind. Today, all we're really approving is the rezoning. And
Right.
you understand that if you further your comprehensive plan, for lack of a better term, you're still gonna have to come back before this board for that conditional use permit that Kevin referenced. So tonight, we're really just looking at turning that into a commercial parcel, and you're
Right.
understanding that.
Yes, yes.
Adam, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I just was wondering if we do approve it, is he gonna keep the school, or is it something, how are you gonna utilize that school? Or are you gonna do anything with that, or what was your plan there, I guess?
It's going to be used for warehousing. We buy overstock, new items, and I would like to have a place to put that stuff to where I can organize it, sell it, whatever. And the building is perfect for that. I actually have electricity in the building. I don't have water or sewer in there as of yet. You know, that someday, you know, but right now it would just simply be cold storage.
Any other questions? Petitioner? Thank you. We may call you back.
All right.
Is there anyone else that would speak about this item? You come forward, sir. State your name and address.
Harold Boer, 46608 252 Street, Lyons. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to come tonight. And I've been a businessman in Lyons for over 40 years. And I certainly know the planning and zoning process. I've been here myself several times, and rezoning and building permits and all that kind of stuff, and I understand its importance. When we do a building, we follow the guidelines and everything, and when we do a building, we always try to make it attractive, and we always keep it very well-kept and cleaned up and picked up, because for our customers that come in, and we get customers in from many states and foreign countries, the appearance of Lyons when they come to town is very important. They're buying a very expensive piece of apparatus, and they want to make sure that it's done right. So again, the overall impression when they pulled in Lyons is very important to us. My concern with this is, given its history and its current appearance, we're concerned that it's not going to get any better and potentially could even get worse. That's our biggest issue. And we don't want Lyons to become a dumping ground for stuff that Sioux Falls and the other areas don't want. I say I totally understand the zoning and everything like that, but certainly there has to be some conditions that it isn't like it is, and that would get good and doesn't bring Lyons down that road to be just a dumping ground. Thank you. We have some more pictures if you're interested, but I don't know if it's.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to come forward and speak? Either proponent or opponent? Come forward, ma'am. State your name and address.
My name is Bonnie Glidewell, and I own property in Lyons, right along, I believe, 2nd Street. And I live in Sioux Falls, and my address is 2105 South Elmwood. It's kind of one of those things, if anybody had ever asked me when I was a senior in government class that I would be appearing before you this evening, I probably would have become hysterical. So if I'm not quite as composed, that would be the reason why. One of the things that I have a question about is really more in the area of mitigation. And every company and every industry always has mitigation areas to worry about. In this instance, there would be environmental mitigation that needs to be considered. And my question is, in the work that has been done thus far by the different offices, has that been taken into consideration? One of the things, and I don't know the answer entirely to this, but what in the city of Lyons, where does the water come from? Does it come from rural water? Is it private wells?
Minnehaha Community Water, I believe, supplies the water.
Okay. Do any of the community members have private wells? So there's groundwater issues to consider.
Scott, do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. There's going to be, let's see here, in addition to sales, there is auto repair, is that correct? Yes. Okay, so in auto repair, my perception is that there are chemicals and products that are less than environmentally safe sometimes. So how these products are going to be recycled or disposed of, has that been considered?
Well, this has not, so we're as Commissioner Ralston has sort of indicated, we're now jumping ahead a step.
Okay.
Because today we're just looking at the rezoning request. And as Commissioner Ralston had indicated, if this should be approved tonight, then he would have to come back for a conditional use permit.
Okay.
And that's when we would ask him all the questions, and then neighbors would be notified again, and that's when he would have to come up with his plans on specifically what would occur on that property and how he would handle waste material.
Okay, so at this point in time, there's been no environmental study on the impact of the community?
No, we're just looking at land use. Is this appropriate to be rezoned to commercial?
Okay, and that cuts my questions short by many. I do have a question, and that is, and maybe that will be answered at a different time, but if there are going to be vehicles and it's such for sale, there are likely going to be many, many lights. So has that,
That would be something we would address at the
and,
conditional use permit.
okay,
We typically have a condition on there that they have to maintain the light on their own property. So that's one of the conditions we typically require.
okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I think, as you very kindly pointed out, I may be ahead of the game. But thank you for listening to the questions that I did have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Otherwise, I'm going to close the floor.
I have a question for staff, I guess.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Are there any eligibilities on this property, or what's the status of a building lot within the unincorporated community there?
So this property is already zoned residential, so it doesn't need eligibilities as long as it has adequate land. They would need 1 acre of land to have a residence and a septic system. So since it really puts them down to one house currently.
So the 2 yellow parcels there would only allow one home?
Yeah, because unless they would use, say, like somewhere near the school to put a house and have a separate drain field, they could maybe squeeze a second house in there, but So maximum 2.
If I may.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So the nuisance that we declared on this property previously, was it with a different owner?
The nuisance that we declared more recently in Lyons was in the south part of Lyons,
Okay.
on a different property.
Any other questions for Kevin?
So I guess I do have one question, Madam
Go ahead,
Chair.
Mike.
So, again, stepping back to just we were looking at the commercial use, what, if any, ramifications are there, or what is his timeline if does he have to address these nuisance complaints before this conditional use permit, would come back before us, I guess? That makes sense. I mean, so if we approve this commercial use today, he still has to correct or mitigate the nuisance, correct, before his conditional use permit?
He would have to mitigate the nuisance. You know, when the nuisance complaint came to us as a planning department, we look at kind of all the different options of how the landowner can work with us to mitigate the nuisance. This particular landowner has decided that this is going to be his first step, and he's progressing towards, I guess, his goal of mitigating it. If he keeps on progressing with it, we will continue to work with them for mitigating it, such as the next step of conditional use permitting, and we can put conditions on it to say at that point that only, I don't know, cars with tires on it can be in the property, you know, that sort of thing. And then that would give them direction of how to clean up the property. If he doesn't come forward with a plan, I guess within a certain, I don't know what time, usually we give him a month or two to come forward with a plan or to apply for that next permit, then we would go through and continue with the nuisance mitigation.
I think that's kind of answering what I was getting at, is that we're not just kicking the can down the road here, that we have an end goal, which is to address some of the concerns the community does have, that we're not looking 2 years before he comes before us with another conditional use permit, so.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair,
Beth?
I guess I have a fear that the property will not see further progress before we, and even if we don't approve this, I don't know that, I have I guess a worry that like a wrecking operation will spontaneously come into existence and things will only deteriorate. I'd really like to see this property brought up to a higher degree of maintenance before I would want to change the zoning on it. That's just my thought.
Well, you have a couple options then. If you make the motion and it goes that way, you could continue this for 2 months and direct him, the applicant, to get the property cleaned up in some manner. And we could then have a update in 2 months and continue the hearing. That's one option.
I guess could I ask the applicant to come back up and
Sure.
ask him that? Dennis, could you come back? So my question to you, sir, is if we were to defer action on this today and give you, say, until February to bring it into a better condition, would that be acceptable to you? Could you?
Absolutely. I'm Brad, by the way.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's all right. You know, this is kind of a time-sensitive thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to actually be able to use the property, maintain it better. You know, I'm going to take over the property
Okay.
at some point. And as far as you're concerned, you know, is the place turning into a wrecking yard or something like that? That's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is a place where I can have certain things, build certain cars, stuff like that. You know, it's not going to be a Billions or a Frankman or anything like that. We're little people, little guys, just trying to make our way in the world. And, you know, we own the property, and so I just feel as if we should be able to use it. You know, and if this gets approved, I'll be able to focus more energy on maintaining the property, taking care of renovations and whatnot. If this isn't, I may be forced to sell the property. And if it gets sold, then
Nothing will improve. S-
I have a question also. I don't want you. It isn't you alone that owns that property, is that correct? You have some partners, is that correct?
No, it's my father who owns it.
Oh, I see, okay.
And he's retiring, getting out of the business altogether, and so I'm taking over. And
see, okay.
rather than having 2 locations to maintain and pay for, I would rather have just one that I can focus all my energy on and make something special out of it. I believe that the school has got enough history that it should be salvaged. I don't think that it should be knocked down. There's a lot of people that come out there and they want to walk through it and this and that, you know, to reminisce. And but unfortunately, the events that have led up to this has kept me from allowing people to go in there. Because I just don't know who's going to be back when I'm not there. So, you know, the whole reason for this is to improve the property, secure the property, and make sure it exists for years to come.
Jeff, any further questions?
So you have another location also?
We lease a property out by T, and that's where the retail car lot is. And this is getting ahead of myself, but my goal is to convert the retail sales into wholesale sales. And so there won't be, you know, bright lights or a retail car lot where people are constantly coming and going. It's going to be for my personal use.
You don't happen to have any pictures of the operation in T, do you?
I don't know.
Madam
Becky?
Chairman. I certainly appreciate everything that you've shared with us. I am a little confused, though, about how the fact that it's not zoned commercial prevents you from cleaning it, so to speak.
Time. With having a car dealership, you know, I've got to be there. I can't be in 2 places at once. And if I'm at the school, working out of the school, then that'll afford me more time to maintain the property and do the renovations that need to be done. And then also my hopes are is if I'm there all the time, then maybe the windows won't get broke out. You know, maybe the theft won't happen anymore. You know, the vandalism and theft has just been ridiculous. And, you know, so my hopes are is that I can go out there and I can actually do something with this place and make it a nice place.
Okay, thank you.
Any other further questions? Doug?
How long have you guys owned this property?
Oh, it's been 10 years now,
Okay.
give or take.
And what was it like before you guys bought it?
Completely overgrown. There wasn't a single window in the front of the building. There was no electricity out there. The bus barn, the roof was caving in. All the windows were knocked out of that. You know, I spent probably 2 months out there replacing windows and securing the building, just to have them knocked back out again. And the problem, I believe, is that I just couldn't spend enough time out there. You know, I don't know, well, I do know who was doing some of the theft and vandalism, and we couldn't get that taken care of. But, so, you know, my hope is if I can be out there, make the place a nice place. That's the bottom line. Otherwise, you know, we're gonna be forced to sell it, and then who knows what's gonna happen to it. So,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Any other further questions for the petitioner?
If we gave you even 1 month, do you think that, you know, maybe removing some of the shrubbery, getting rid of some of the metal objects that are cluttering it up, would that be a feasible thing?
I would love to say yes, but the problem is like I say, I can't be at two places at one time. And unfortunately, my dad has had health issues, and that's why this is all happening. You know, I would like to say, yes, I can go out there and spend a couple weeks and just get it all cleaned up and everything parked nice and neat. But unfortunately, you know, I have to be at the car lot because it is retail and I don't have any employees. And so, state law says that I have to be there. So, you know, a month, maybe 2 months, but, you know, we are going into winter too. And so that's gonna put a damper on things also.
Well, let me just say that if we made this change, you still wouldn't have the time to be there to bring it up to snuff, so to speak.
Well, we would, because then I would.
You'd make the
convert
commitment.
I'd close up the car lot in T, convert it to a wholesale lot and move it out to Lyons is the ultimate goal. And so then I would be out there all the time.
Mm.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair.
Jeff, I can see.
So let me just say that, you know, my thought is either A, we give you some more time, or else B, we turn you down. That's my view. So what would you like for time? How about if we gave you, like I said, till,
You know, I'll have to interrupt for a second because I'm a little unclear as to what the nuisance is. I guess I haven't read the paperwork myself. And so, you know,
sure.
you know, if it's renovations on the building or anything like that, then, you know, chances are I'm not gonna get that done this winter. But as far as, you know, cleaning up the parking lot where everything's concentrated, you know, if I had a couple months, I could get that squared away. You know, and actually it would take me less, but I would like to have more, so you know.
The thing is also, though, if we turn you down, then it has to be like 6 months, right, Scott, before you can come back. So
Sure.
my thought is that if we brought it back in a couple months, we would have time to see some progress, and I don't know, what do you guys think?
Any other comments from the commission?
I think that's reasonable. Just give them a couple months and get all what's in I think in the parking lot cleaned up there and.
So we have worked extensively with his father through the code enforcement issues. So his dad is well informed on what the issues are out there. So
Okay.
he knows.
Yeah.
So, if I might ask Scott, if we were to defer, should it be till January or February? Because it is tough working in the winter.
Well, I mean, a lot of that's gonna depend on the weather. And we have no meeting in December,
Right.
so it's either, you know, 1 month or January. And, you know, January's anyone's guess what's gonna happen. I mean,
That's right.
because typically we have a real low success rate of getting people to clean up their properties in the months of December, January, February, March, because it's all frozen, snowed in, and no one wants to work out when it's 20 below zero.
Well, whether we approve it or not, that's gonna be winter coming up here, and so chances are it can't be cleaned up too quickly.
And whether it's zoned commercial or it's zoned ag or whatever it is, what's located on the property is still gonna be a nuisance, whether it's zoned commercial or not, so. In its current state, whether it would be zoned either one of them, we would still have the ability to go in and eventually declare it a nuisance through the county and clean it up. Which we, you know, don't like to do.
Nope.
Okay, any other questions for the petitioner? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we? Any other comments?
You know, it would be great to see progress made, even if it wasn't completely brought up to looking like a Billion's car lot or something. And with any luck, some of the more superficial problems could be quickly taken care of. You know, the size of the driveway or anything like that could be worked on too. I know you farm guys work outside and gals work outside and in all weather. What's reasonable?
I think it would take some hard work now before we have snow. I mean, what's going to be done probably really needs to be done in the next 6 weeks.
More or less, yeah.
Before everything is snowed and iced in. Once it's frozen in, I mean, to go out there with chisels and picks is just not worth it.
I guess how many vehicles are out there, I guess,
Yeah,
is how many
that's
does he have to, how many is there that need to be removed?
All right, so a few of the photos from here. So there's the vehicles, there's tires, and this area here, there's a large pile of like wooden debris.
I'll make a motion to continue this till February.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded to continue the rezoning till February.
Are we
All-
gonna make sure, are we gonna see progress then, or are we just
That's
gonna-
what we hope.
That's what we wanna see then, and then we'll re-vote on it then in February
Yeah.
then? Okay,
And the neighbors will be notified again as well, right?
Yeah.
okay. I just wanna make sure that's what we're voting on, so.
Okay, are we all sitting at this table clear on this? Or any further discussion before we vote? Okay, all those in favor of deferring it till February?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Madam Chairman, a bookkeeping issue, there was never a motion, you talked about the consent calendar, but there was never a motion to approve the minutes from September 24th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from September 24.
I'll
We
second.
did.
I thought we did.
We said
Yeah,
it
we
at the
did.
same time.
Yeah,
My mistake, I thought we had.
yeah, no, I was gonna say, these two said at the same time.
We said it at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, we did it twice, so.
It's the only reason I remember.
You all in favor of the minutes then, David, so there was no vote?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, we did.
Do we have any old business? Any new business?
Madam Chair, I guess I'd like to talk about the situation down there in the Brower subdivision. Is that possible? I'd like to show this picture I have of,
Again, it typically doesn't fall under the preview of the planning commission, but you're familiar with it, the conditional use permit we denied last winter for the junkyard. It's been an ongoing, problem. Commissioner Barth can fill you in.
well, basically, you know, this party went into operation, I've got two pictures here. Went into operation without any permit, and we found out after a couple of months. And then he came in for a permit, did not get it, and he's continued to operate now for 11 or 12 months. Zoom in on that if you can.
It has been turned over to the state's attorney for legal action.
And this is a fire at that junkyard. Again, this person has no permit for this operation and has been told that, but continues to unload vehicles and stuff. We called the DENR about it, and they said he's doing okay. But it's a muddy mess with iron and stuff sticking out of the ground all over the place. And I was there Friday and saw them unloading more cars, and it's making me crabby.
But there we go.
So Jeff, what do you want to have happen?
I want
Shut him
them
down?
to stop, but
Okay.
Anyway, this is another picture, oh, sorry, another picture at the same place. Look at that mud.
Oh,
So with the fire department were out there, but they decided that Meanwhile, the next lot over is like porta potties, and the one after that is bulk oil storage.
Okay, anything else you have, Jeff? Is that it?
I'd like us to be able to find people that don't follow the rules, which we currently can't do.
Anything else? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.